making a drum beat now using MIDI pattern regions. This is a nice way to work because whatever you play in stays in time with the session, so in theory you're not going to come across any timing issues. So it's a good way to learn how to understand how to map everything to Logic's metronome and the tempo, but actually it's something that you may end up using throughout your production development. So what we're going to look at is creating a electronic drum kit. That's going to be my starting point. You can choose whatever you want. There's drum kits, you've got rock drum kits. I'm going to go to electronic drum kit. Just for now, I'm going to start with Above and Beyond, just as a demonstration. First thing we're going to think about when we're creating a beat is tempo. This is the tempo at the top here, and it says 120 BPM, beats per minute. I'm just going to drop this down to just a nice little chill beat, so 107, a bit random. I have just been playing around with the beat, and actually this is the tempo that I'd like to work at today. If I click on this button here, that brings up the metronome, and if I press the space bar, this is the metronome, and you can see here, beats and bars, it stays in time with each beat, and if I wrap this up, the metronome is in time with the beats and the bars in Logic. So I'm going to bring it back down to 107. So to create a MIDI pattern region, I'm just going to use these little kind of magnifying glass things just to zoom in. So to create a MIDI pattern region, I'm going to click on the track, so Above and Beyond drums, Control click and create pattern region, and that appears. Now this is a 4-bar section. If I click at the top here, you get this orange banner, and that means that I can loop around the section, so I don't have to keep stopping and starting. Now, basic beats, we've got here kick drums, we've got 3 kicks including a sub, snare drums, claps and hi-hats. That's all we're going to program today. And at the moment this is set to 16 steps, so that means there's 16 sections of the bar. So if I just play, so the first beat of every bar is going to be a kick drum, so we're just going to keep a simple beat, kick, snare, kick, snare. So if I just press play with the space bar, I've got the metronome on, and you can hear that actually that is in time. Whatever you play on this grid, it will stay in time with whatever tempo. If I change the tempo, the metronome stays in time, so it's all nice and simple. Right, it's back to 107. So I'll program in. So these are the 4 beats to the bar. This is 16 steps, so we've got 4 sections to each beat. So kick, snare, kick, snare. And for the hi-hats, I'm going to program in a hi-hat every other 16. So that's an 8th note. So if I press play now, this is just a basic, simple drum beat. So think Billie Jean, Michael Jackson, amongst many other tunes. That is just a typical 4 to the floor beat. So kick, snare, hi-hats on every other 16th note. Now, while we're in here, we can just do a little bit of editing. So I'm just going to add a couple of little skip snares or kicks maybe. Now I'm going to put a little snare in here, so double snare. But it's a little bit loud. So what we can do, if on this snare sound, we do this little drop down section, this section here where it says 100, this is the volume, or the velocity more specifically, but essentially it's the volume. So I'm going to bring this down, so you should hear now this little snare before the snare on the beat should be a bit quieter. It's called like a little ghost note. You can also play around with the pitch here. This is coming up an octave, so it was on 3, so we can bring it down or up. But I'm just going to keep it where it was. I'm going to add a couple of other little. Actually, no. So one other thing I'm going to show you. So this is 16 steps. You can change this to whatever you want. So 32 steps. So this is now 2 bars. I'm just going to add a couple more ghost snares at the end here, And I might even just pitch, should we try and pitch these up, see what this sounds like? And actually, I tell you, yeah, the other thing you can do is you can divide these into sections. So let's have a listen. Okay, that sounds a bit weird, so let's not do that. Okay, that sounds a bit odd. I'm actually going to get rid of those. They don't sound particularly good. So you get what you hear now. So I'm also just going to add a sub kick on the first beat of the first bar. So every 2 bars now we've got a sub kick. And I'll tell you what we'll do. We've got some more hi-hats here. I'm going to add a open hi-hat. So these are closed. Maybe not there, or there in fact. Okay, cool. So that's a starting point. So this is our first the first beat. Now this at the moment is in the arrange page. We can click top right. He says top right, and you get this little like circle, half circle symbol with an arrow. That just means we can just drag this out, and we can just loop this now for like 32 bars, for example. So that's 30 bars. It says 33, but we start at bar 1, so that's 32 bars. And now we can just start adding some other instrumentation. The other thing we can do is, this didn't work a minute ago actually, so apologies if this doesn't, is we can check, so at the moment we're on above and beyond. If I just click on, where are we, if we just double click on the instrument a minute, just see if we can change to, yeah, so I've now changed the kit from above and beyond to abstract thought. It might be that you decide you don't like the drum sounds on that. So with the same pattern that we've made, we're now going to create like a different style, different sounding drums, just going through the different kits. So we can just keep going through them. So there's 808 flex. But I'm going back to my above and beyond. I kind of quite like that. So the point is you can program in information and then change the drum kit as you wish. Cool. While I'm there, if you click on the instrument here, DMD, you can also change, oh, just click on it once. You can also change, so you can see here. So here's my kick. You can actually change the kick and you can pitch it up or down, and just generally edit each individual sound. So you've got like a little filter here just to play around with the tone. Drives, you can play around with like a bit of distortion. Compress it, crush. So the point is you can manipulate your beats, but if I just get back to where it was, that's just a simple clean sound. So I'm just going to repeat now. If you control click on the track and you go to create MIDI, sorry, create pattern region, and so here's another one now, and you can just program in as you will. So this is a different beat. So what we could do, this could be like an intro, and then we go into the first section. Again, put the metronome on. I might decide that actually this is too fast and I want to chill it down a bit to 95. That's quite a big difference. Some more of a hip-hop beat or hip-hop tempo. And I might just add my sub kick on here as well, actually. Take that one out. Cool. So that's creating a drum beat using MIDI pattern region.